Sometimes genius doesn't come from a lab coat or a master plan. It comes from a mess, a spill, a bad day. Maybe even from someone saying, well, that didn't work. Today we're diving into 10 everyday inventions that weren't supposed to exist, yet somehow changed the world anyway, from glue that doesn't stick to snacks born from spite. And by the end of this, you'll probably realize half the world's best ideas started as accidents. Post-it notes. Picture this. A scientist at 3M trying to make the world's strongest adhesive, something that could hold together jet parts, maybe even buildings. Instead, he creates the weakest glue imaginable. It barely stuck to anything. Total failure, right? Except one of his co-workers, a choir singer, got tired of his bookmarks falling out of his hymn book, so he used that useless glue to stick tiny notes onto pages. They stayed in place and peeled off cleanly. That failed glue became the world's go-to office supply. Post-it notes. What's wild is that it took years before anyone even realized this was useful. 3M almost shelved it forever. Now it's everywhere, from school planners to detective boards and crime shows, all from glue that wasn't sticky enough to do its job. Microwaves. In the 1940s, an engineer named Percy Spencer was working on radar systems. You know, the military tech that detects planes. One day while testing a magnetron tube, he noticed something strange. A chocolate bar in his pocket had melted. No heat, no fire, just gone. So Percy aimed the magnetron at some popcorn kernels. They exploded. Then he tried an egg. It cooked from the inside and burst all over the lab. That's when he realized microwave radiation could cook food in seconds. What's funny is the first microwaves were taller than most people and cost thousands of dollars. They were used in restaurants long before homes. Now we don't even blink when reheating pizza at midnight. One melted chocolate bar gave us the modern kitchen's most chaotic best friend. Potato chips. Imagine being a chef in the 1850s. A customer keeps sending back your fried potatoes, saying they're too thick and soggy. So you snap. You slice the next batch paper thin, drown them in oil, and dump a mountain of salt on top. Just to be petty to your shock, the customer loves them. The revenge potatoes become a hit. That chef's name was George Crumb, and his angry moment created the potato chip. Within years, it exploded into a national craze. Factories began mass producing them. Now they're part of every lunchbox, every party, every vending machine on earth. And it all started with one annoyed chef saying, "Fine, I'll show you thin." Penicillin. In 1928, Alexander Fleming was studying bacteria when he made a simple mistake. He went on vacation and forgot to clean his Petri dishes. When he came back, one of them had grown mold. Gross. But then he noticed something weird. The bacteria around the mold had disappeared. That mold, Penicillium notatum, was killing the germs. Completely by accident, Fleming had discovered penicillin, the first true antibiotic. It took over a decade for others to purify and mass produce it. But when they did, it saved millions during World War II. What began as laziness literally changed medicine forever. So next time you forget to clean something, maybe it's a historic moment waiting to happen. Slinky. During World War II, an engineer named Richard James was testing tension springs, the kind used to stabilize naval equipment. He accidentally knocked one off his desk, and it didn't just fall. It walked. Step by step, end over end, it made its way across the floor. James stared, probably thinking, wait, that's kind of cool. He brought the design home, showed it to his wife, and they started experimenting. Soon, they had a toy that could walk downstairs on its own. They called it the Slinky, and when it hit toy stores in 1945, it sold out in hours. Over 300 million have been sold since. From a military test spring to one of the most satisfying toys ever made. Popsicles. This one's pure childhood magic. In 1905, an 11-year-old named Frank Epperson mixed powdered soda with water and left it outside overnight, with a wooden stir stick still inside. When he woke up, the mixture had frozen solid around the stick. He pulled it out and took the first bite of what we now call a popsicle. He didn't even patent it until years later, when his kids started calling it Popsicle. What's crazy is, this was before freezers were common. People would literally use winter air or ice boxes to make them. Now the frozen treat aisle is an empire, from fruit pops to creamsicles, all because one kid forgot his soda outside on a cold night. Velcro. After a hike in the 1940s, a Swiss engineer named Georges de Mestral noticed something annoying. Burrs from plants were stuck all over his dog's fur and his clothes. But instead of brushing them off, he looked closer, way closer. With a microscope, he saw tiny hooks on the burrs grabbing onto loops in the fabric. That gave him an idea. What if we copied nature? Years later, he invented Velcro, velvet plus crochet. Hook and loop fasteners that could stick together thousands of times without glue or buttons. At first, people laughed, but when NASA used it in spacesuits and gear, suddenly it became futuristic. Now it's on sneakers, jackets, and every kid's backpack. Nature's little annoyance turned into a global invention. X-rays. In 1895, a German physicist named Wilhelm Röntgen was experimenting with cathode rays, basically beams of electrons inside a vacuum tube. Then something strange happened. A nearby screen started glowing, even though it was covered. He realized something invisible was passing through solid material. When he placed his wife's hand in front of it, he saw her bones, and her wedding ring, appear in shadow. It looked like magic. He called them X-rays because X meant unknown. Within months, doctors around the world were using them to see inside the human body. It completely transformed medicine, and it all started with a mysterious glow in a dark lab. Play-Doh. Originally, this stuff wasn't a toy at all. It was wallpaper cleaner, meant to remove soot from old-fashioned coal heating. But as homes switched to cleaner energy, nobody needed it anymore. The company was about to go bankrupt. Then a teacher discovered that kids loved molding it in art class. It was soft, safe, and smelled kind of nice, so they rebranded it as Play-Doh, added colors, and turned failure into fun. Today it's sold in over 80 countries. And the original scent? Still the same, from cleaning walls to sparking creativity in millions of kids' rooms. Coca-Cola. In the late 1800s, pharmacist John Pemberton was trying to invent a cure for headaches and fatigue. He mixed wine, coca leaves, and caffeine, basically an early energy tonic. But when prohibition laws banned alcohol, he had to change the formula, so he replaced wine with sugar syrup and carbonated water. When people tried it, they didn't taste medicine. They tasted something new and addictive. He called it Coca-Cola. It wasn't even meant to be a soda at first. Now it's one of the most recognized brands in history. From pain relief to pop culture icon, all from a pharmacist's failed headache cure. So what do all these stories have in common? Nobody set out to make history. They just made mistakes and paid attention to what happened next. That's the real secret behind invention, curiosity. The ability to say, wait, what if this failure isn't a failure? Next time something goes wrong, maybe don't throw it away. Because who knows? You might be one bad idea away from your own Post-it note moment.